ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Power Vacuum. I'm your host, Belmont. And let me start by saying two things. One, I did not expect to see an article like this. And two, I apologize in advance if this article is crap because it's from Gaming Bible. And they've been kind of giving me nothing burgers of information lately, but this is the first person I saw that covered this. So I wanted to see what was going on. As many of you can tell right here, we've got Malik and Revan from the Knights of the Old Republic series. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic 2025 expansion praised by fans. So I like how they choose the word expansion, not DLC, because it's an independent venture. So I don't know if DLC implies that it's made by the actual team, but I feel like this is basically DLC. Two, saying it's praised by fans. I haven't read the article yet, but what fans are you talking about? I didn't know this was happening. I'm a huge fan, and I haven't heard any rumblings about this happening at all from other people that I know are huge fans and that usually are on point with this stuff. So let's see who this praise is from. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is getting a surprise expansion this year, and fans are overjoyed. Stop. Just stop. Get some help. All right. We might not be overjoyed at all. We might be anticipating. We might be, uh, you know, slightly filled with joy, but overjoyed, that's a stretch right there. Yes, that's right. Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic is getting an expansion, and no, I'm not talking about the remake announced during a Sony PlayStation Showcase event in 2021, which is now lost in limbo. It's a fancy way of saying dead in the water. That will never get off the ground. There's just it just won't stop the fever dream. The only way that happens is if the person who is making it releases it as a completely free passion project in order to avoid the legalities of making money off of intellectual property and with a completely different soundtrack, because the biggest problem with Star Wars and Star Wars games is that the person or entity, I'm not sure exactly what it is, who they are, or if it's one or a group, but the entity that owns the rights to the music is not Disney. Like Disney has to still license the music because I I guess that's just how it played out back in the day. The music was owned by a different group. Like, I don't even think Lucas owned the music back in the day. I'd have to do some research on that, but I know that the vast majority of copyright strikes on fan-made Star Wars things don't come from Disney. They come from the people who own the rights to the music. Unless Disney has retroactively purchased them. But I do remember multiple articles in the past about whatever company. You'd think I'd remember, but it's been so long. But this company that owns the rights to the music, striking people, being like, "Hey, you can't use the music. That's us. You didn't pay for that." But where are we at? For many, the original Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic, developed by BioWare, old school BioWare back when they knew what they were doing, and released in 2003 on PC and Xbox. 2003, KotOR can drink, y'all. It's of age to drink. Jesus. Is considered to be one of the best sci-fi RPGs of all time, as reflected by its impressive score of 94 on Metacritic. Yep. It's also won more awards than any other game at the time, and the only games that have won more awards now than KotOR have done so because there are now more awards to give out. That's the only reason they've beaten them. Like Uncharted 2 won more video game awards because there are more video game awards that that existed when Uncharted 2 came out than existed when KotOR came out. Uh, but if you look at, I think someone did the math once. If you looked at the percentage of awards received versus the percentage of awards available, KotOR is still like the most decorated game, and it deserves it. It's an amazing story, an amazing narrative. You actually have an effect on the story. and the gameplay was just revolutionary for the time. I know people that don't like anything but like sports games, like FIFA and Madden, that will say KotOR was a great game. So there you have it. As far as you know, where it stands in being, excuse me, where it stands in being impressive as a game. The following year, we were treated to its sequel developed by Obsidian Entertainment, and rather than getting Knights of the Old Republic 3, it was canceled in favor of what would become the MMORPG Star Wars The Old Republic, currently developed by Broadsword Online Games, which, by the way, was actually a really good game. It was a very good game. Um, I can't remember if it was Galaxies or the Old Republic that lets you have a Jedi class that couldn't even use a lightsaber because you had to have a skill to use a lightsaber, but you could go full force powers. Again, I don't remember if it was Old Republic or Galaxies, one of the Star Wars MMOs, but you could build an entire force power Jedi that had no means of activating a lightsaber because they never learned the skill on how to use a lightsaber. It was hilarious. And you were still busted as shit because you're motherfucking Jedi. Um, Where was I? While it looks like it won't be getting the Knights of the Old Republic remake anytime soon, hopefully this fan-made DLC based on the OG might help keep us busy. Oh, so you call it a DLC here, but you call it an expansion in the title. Weird. Um, Weird. I would have just called it a DLC to begin with. My 2025 New Year's resolution, complete with the new story mod for KotOR. Here's a teaser video, declared Redditor Any Sow. Coming in 2025, if all goes well, is a major new story mod for KotOR that I am developing, which I am calling Sleheyron Story Mode. All right, well, I will go ahead. Well, let me finish reading the article because it ends right there. And then we'll go back and watch this. It's fair to say that news of this fan made DLC from the original Knights of the Old Republic has gone down a treat with fellow Reddit users. Okay, so these are the fans that are excited. And yes, it's easy to find excited people on Reddit. It's also easy to find pissed off people on Reddit. So you have to cherry pick your comments when it comes to Reddit. You'll also find completely unrelated comments on Reddit of people talking about like random things like where can I find an arborist or things that are inappropriate for many other users. Um, Looking forward to this, said Sap to Fiction. Okay, that's awesome, replied Cricket9818. I'll be watching your career with great interest, announced Cortisol. Star Wars reference. This sounds great. Would love to play it. You can play both the original Star Wars and Knights of the Old Republic games on PC. Da, da, da. All right. Let's see. Shakabaka. Okay. A moment, Padawan. I would speak with you before you leave Dantooine. Have we met? We have not. My name is Jar, Princess of Master Jar. I appreciate that you have taken time to listen to what I have to say. I'm well aware of your mission to the Star Forge is important, but you have been asked to investigate other. What? Reading out loud isn't as easy as reading in my head. To investigate one other lead while you traverse the galaxy. Does this take precedence over the mission to find the Star Forge and defeat Malik? I wouldn't say that, but Master Zara says that proceeding with additional tasks may be of great use to you during your mission. Do side quest, basically. Hut space, the world of Sleheyron. Oh, so he added a whole planet. Holy shit. Okay. That actually is more information than I was expecting to get. But there you go. So this person basically added a mod that adds a new planet to the game, and there's probably tons of stuff going on that planet. Um, cool. Well, if more information comes out about this game, I will definitely talk about that. And it looks like Gaming Bible actually gave us some news for a change that isn't nothing. Thank you. Thank you. I was beginning to be like, why do I keep coming back to this site? There's a reason it's on one of my tabs, and it must be because I've read a good story somewhere from them that had legit information. And here we go. It only took one of the greatest games of all time to give them like legit story. Or maybe it's this guy. Maybe Richard Lee Breslin is like their only, journalist that actually cares about, journalism and telling you something that's happening instead of just regurgitating nonsense. But yeah, DLC for KotOR coming out fairly soon, I suppose. We'll have to keep an eye out for that and an ear out for what's going on with it. But like I said, if more information comes out, I will give you more information. But that's all I have for this story right now. This is your host Belmont, signing out.